Welcome to our Wednesday night wind down. We are going to focus on removing obstacles tonight. What you need are a bolster or two, a few blankets, a couple blocks, a eye covering of sorts or scarf, as well as your practice journal. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to have you sit down in a comfortable seat. You can either be on the floor or you can be seated, whatever is most comfortable to you. Make sure that you're feeling supported. So make any adjustments there. I'm going to have you sit up nice and tall, slight chin tuck. And the breath pattern that we're going to start with is called the Durga breath. We're going to inhale and then exhale a third, exhale a third, and exhale a third. After each mini exhale, you will pause the breath momentarily. Okay? The only time you don't want to necessarily be doing this is if you are pregnant. You want to make sure then that you just have a nice, solid, circular breath, just in and out with no pauses or holding of your breath, okay? So you'll inhale, exhale a third, pause, exhale a third, pause, one more third, pause, inhale. Take your time through this. Starting to relax as you do this breath work through the body. Trying to drop those shoulders away from the ears. Relaxing through the face, the front of the throat, the shoulders, through the arms, down the side body, melting down through the heart, through the rib cage, down into the belly, into the hips, the mid back, the low back, into the glutes, the thighs, the hamstrings, the calves, and the feet. Allowing yourself to be here now to the best of your ability. Setting the intention to welcome in this wind down, to welcome in a release. Tonight's practice will be about releasing anything that's blocking you from allowing yourself to live in more alignment. I'm going to read you a little something, continuing to breathe. Each one of us is blessed with the ability to want. Some desire to achieve financial success, some to change the world, and others simply to change themselves for the better. Each one of us also has the power to make what we want a reality. Often, however, we subtly undermine our efforts by refusing support, adopting an air of ambivalence, overcommitting, being indecisive, or listening to our doubts. This is self-sabotage. Sometimes it is not a deficiency of desire, intelligence, skill, or effort that is holding you back, but an internal tug of war based on fear. You know what you want from life, but consciously or subconsciously get in the way of your efforts. There is a conflict between your desires and your feelings of worth and entitlement. Self-sabotaging behavior can affect your motivation and your drive. You may drown your strong desires in television or food, avoid facing potentially challenging situations, or simply retreat inward. Accepting challenges, growing, making tough decisions, and working hard can seem truly frightening. It is easier to continue doing what you have always done. But the more you turn away from the means to achieve your life's dreams, the more your self-esteem and confidence is damaged. In that way, self-sabotage is cyclical. You shy away from going after what you want and then believe that you lack the ability to get it. Self-sabotage can inspire feelings of depression, frustration, discouragement, and even anger because you are working against yourself. If you feel you have hindered your own efforts, remember and write down times when you did so. Do not use the information to judge yourself. Instead, try to avoid similarly sabotaging yourself in the future. Recognize that all worthwhile goals take patience, organization, work, and a measure of confidence. Self-sabotage nearly always comes from feelings of inadequacy or underservedness, but those feelings can be overcome by giving yourself an extra portion of nurturing and love when you are working out a problem or formulating a long-term plan. All desires are special and valid, and learning to overcome self-sabotage is an important part of achieving what you want. Continuing to breathe. So we're setting the intention that this practice, this very relaxing, rejuvenating, and restorative practice is going to be in service to removing that which keeps you in these cycles, whatever that may be for you. Maybe it will help you wake yourself up the next time it happens, shake yourself out of a certain behavior or thought that keeps you from moving forward. So to start, I'm going to have you blink your eyes open, deepening your breath. I'm going to have you come into an all-fours position on your mat, grabbing one of your bolsters. Right? You're going to move into child's pose. You can have big, wide knees here and put your bolster in the center. Then, if it's too much for you to come forward and lay down, resting your head, placing one cheek on one side, you can always put a blanket underneath your sit bones, okay? And then come down. If it still feels too low, you can always use an extra blanket or even an extra bolster to support yourself. If you're pregnant, you can also just move to the side. So you can just lean to the side and do a side child's pose, if you will. So begin to deepen your breath in your belly and settle in, welcoming this child's pose. All right, in our child's pose, I'm going to relax. Welcome in the energy that will help transcend and shift these blockages. Imagining that there's nothing you need to do here except for welcome the support. Welcome the behavior change. As you continue to breathe, sometimes moving into these stationary poses, these relaxing poses after a long day can feel tough. Come back to our breath pattern. Inhaling and then exhaling a third, pause. Exhale a third, pause. And then exhale that final third and pause. And inhale again, just to align the energy, anchor you in your body as you release and let go. I'm going to have you deepen your breath and just gently pick your head up off of your bolster, turn your head in the opposite direction so we stretch the neck on both sides. Settle in again, taking your time, allowing the body to melt. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Gently starting to press into the palms, arching back up. Coming back up onto your knees. You're going to move your bolster, any other props that you have off your mat. Now, we aren't going to necessarily need any props, though you might want to have a blanket or even a bolster near your side. You're going to lengthen out. So a lot of stagnant energy is around our second and third chakra. Sometimes we feel, this twisting area can feel really tense. So one of the ways in which we're going to work through this energy tonight is you're going to lengthen out your body, and we're going to do something I affectionately call the banana. So you're going to draw your arms up overhead, but try to draw the shoulder blades down and away. So even though at first they might be higher up, you're going to draw them down. You're going to walk your heels for the first time over to the right, and then you're going to walk your hands over to the right. So you're going to essentially make a little bit of a half moon shape on the ground. You can reach for a wrist or even your fingertips, but if holding your wrist doesn't feel supportive, in fact, it feels like too much work, you can let go. But this is where a blanket can come in handy. You can sort of throw the blanket on top so that everything feels like it's resting and you don't have to do any work. So you're just bringing this side bend into that shape. So beginning to deepen your breath, don't overdo it. Sometimes you can overdo it, but this just helps open up that energy. So gently pick up the heels, walk them a little bit to the right. Gently walk the hands over to the right. Feel the lengthening all the way from the left pinky down the arm, all the way underneath the armpit, down the side body, all the way making its way down to the soles of the feet. Now continuing with your breath, inhaling and then exhaling a third and pause, another third pause, the last third and pause. And as you do this, anchoring into this idea of welcoming in support, maybe guidance, into a sort of ability to move through the obstacles that you sometimes feel are in front of you when you want to make a change. Reducing the susceptibility, if you will, to self-sabotage. Welcoming in energy that helps you more easily move through the parts that feel difficult, through the changes, through the uncertainty, through the fear. And remembering that as you welcome this energy in, there's nothing you need to do. You're just seeding it, and it will follow. Deepening your breath in your belly, and then gently, slowly, very slowly, walking those heels back to center, walking those hands back to center, bringing the torso so that you feel vertical as you're laying down here. And then slowly walk the heels to the left, walk the hands to the left, and then take the left hand and reach and grab the right wrist or the right hands and start to settle in. So take your time doing this. It can actually feel like a lot. Coming back to your breath, coming back to our intention. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Gently, so slowly, bring those heels back to center. Walking the hands back to center, adjusting through the torso. Bringing the hands to either side of the hips and just taking a couple deep breaths. And then gently, slowly rolling to one side, pushing yourself up. We're going to move into our next pose. If you have a bigger bolster, grab the bigger bolster. Otherwise, grab another bolster you have. You might want to have a blanket to throw on top. We are going to do a supported twist. So we'll start with our right hip kissing the bolster. That's the way I think of it. So the right hip and even part of the top of the thigh is maybe touching the bolster. Your right foot is leaning or touching the top of the left thigh. You're going to lengthen up through the spine. And as you do so, you're going to think about turning from the hips and the pelvis first, not from the shoulders. And you're going to simply walk your hands on either side of the bolster and either lay your head in the same direction as the knee, or if you feel that it is in support of your body, you can do the twist where you turn your head in the opposite direction and lay all the way down and rest. The last thing I like to do here is I like to take a blanket and place it on my low back. It just feels really nourishing, supportive, and settle in. If for some reason, again, this feels too far away, you just feel like you can't get there in a support, add a blanket maybe. And again, if you are pregnant, you can stay on the same side and just lay over the top. So just make yourself comfortable, allowing, instead of a closed twist, an open twist. Space for the belly. Deepening your breath here, connecting again back to that breath pattern. Inhaling, the exhaling a third, and a third. Coming back to the intention of moving through your desires, moving through the challenges in your life, moving through and towards the experiences that you are excited about, knowing that as you do so, you are dissolving behaviors that keep you feeling stuck or stalled, that keep you believing that you aren't capable or that it's not for you or it's for others. Instead of welcoming in this energetic support to help you move towards what you really want. Deepening your breath in your belly, and then gently, slowly pressing into your palms, arching up back through center, and then slowly turning so that your feet and your legs can extend. The low back touches the bolster. Just bringing some symmetry here. And then when you're ready, turning to the opposite side. So that left hip is now kissing the bolster. The left foot is on top or touching the top of the right thigh. And then again, moving through the hips first, the low pelvis here, and then walking your hands all the way down the bolster and laying down and twisting. Making any modifications that are needed or necessary in order for you to feel supported by this bolster. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly, gently pressing into your palms, slowly returning yourself back up, turning and stretching the legs out, maybe pedaling out the knees and the legs, feeling that symmetry. Good. We're going to move on to our next pose. So you're going to move the bolster off to the side. Okay, so this pose, we're going to do another twist, and it is going to be supported. So let's move the bolster to your right side. Sometimes you're going to have it just aligned. You might adjust it, have it at an angle. All right, so laying down, you're going to place your feet on the floor. Pick up your hips, and then hitch them a little bit to the left as you drop the right hip that is closer to the floor, just right on the floor. So you've given yourself some support here, and then you're going to turn and drop that left leg over the right. Bring your arms out to a T. Now, another way I like to use my blanket is, again, to support the leg here. And then if you'd like, you can even place an eye pillow or scarf on the forehead, over the eyes, and just settle in. Allow this to feel supportive. Coming back to your breath pattern, inhaling and then exhaling a third and pausing. Exhaling a third, pause. The last third and pause, inhaling. Again, welcoming in this idea of removing any obstacles to creating a life that is enjoyable, that excites you, that lights you up. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Maybe removing the blanket or removing the eye pillow. Deepening your breath and gently drawing that knee back to center. You're going to pick up your bolster and place it on the opposite side now. Nice and flat. I don't have a flat area, so I'm just going to make do. Placing those feet on the floor, pick up the hips, hitch them off to the right this time, drop the left hip, lengthen the left leg, and then just reach that right knee over, settling in. Again, maybe using the eye pillow or a scarf, maybe adding some blankets. Coming back to your inhale, and then your exhale for a third, pause, a third, pause, and a third. Beginning to deepen your breath in your bellies. Gently removing any blankets or eye pillows. And then slowly drawing your knee back to center. Maybe rolling your spine up and down in a gentle bridge. Good. Now we're going to do something similar. So you're going to, well, actually, we'll keep the bolster on the same side, so you don't have to move it. So you're going to make sure that you're feeling nice and even. Press your elbows into the floor, pick up your chest, draw the shoulder blades down. Good. Then you're going to pick up your left leg, lengthen your right And you're going to drop that left leg onto the bolster. Okay. Now, if you want to raise it, you can see mine's raised pretty high. If you want to raise it, you can, if that will feel more supportive. The other thing that can also be really quite nice to keep your leg in place so you're not working hard is tossing a blanket on it. So again, arms out to a T, this time opening up nice and wide through that inner hip, down the inner thigh, and settling in. Again, the eye pillow, extra blankets, whatever might feel supportive, go ahead and add them as you rest here, bringing back your breath pattern, as well as your intention of moving through difficult choices and trusting yourself to be able to reach these desires, being able to trust that your desires matter, being able to know that your abilities to reach those desires and wants are more than likely capable. They're already there. You just have to give yourself permission. Get out of your own way and allow the support, the guidance to come to you. To deepen your breath in your belly, gently removing any blankets, any extra props, gently bringing your leg back to center, placing it on the floor, possibly doing some gentle bridge poses, lifting up through the hips, through the spine and down. And then moving your bolster from the left over to your right, getting yourself set up, and then opening up your right leg so that the bolster can support this gentle inner thigh and hip stretch. Maybe placing a blanket on that right thigh to tack it down to support you. Grabbing the eye pillow, coming back to the breath, coming back to your intention. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Gently, slowly removing any props. Gently bringing that leg back into center. And when you're ready, rolling off to the side till you can get yourself sitting up. Now, if you have a slightly smaller bolster, this might be helpful. Otherwise, the big bolster will also work. So you're going to sit on your sit bones. I'm going to have you lengthen out your legs in front of you, pull the sit bones back. Feels nice and lengthening through those legs. And then you're going to grab your bolster. So I'm going to take my slightly smaller bolster and I'm going to grab a block. Now, I might also decide I want a blanket here. So I'm going to reach forward, okay, and rest my head on this block. So I'm going to stack my forearms, rest my head on this block, and just relax through my upper back, through my mid back, through my glutes and my hips, and just settle in, okay? Now, if for whatever reason I need a little more support, it just feels too much, too intense, adding a blanket to this, drawing the bolster a little bit higher up can add some extra support. You can maybe even tuck it into the like underneath the rib cage and allow yourself some extra support. So play around with that. And then allow yourself to settle in. Settling in again to the breath pattern, settling into the intention, and allowing the body to deeply relax and rest. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Good. Just gently moving your bolster off to the side. We're going to make one small adjustment And then continue in a very similar pose. So you're going to make a nice wide triangle, or as people like to say when you have small kids, you're going to make a pizza slice. Okay. And in this case, you might actually want to have your blocks underneath your bolster to bring the bolster up a little bit. So we're going to do the same kind of a pose where we're going to lean forward. So just getting us a little bit deeper into those sit bones. So again, you can pull them back, draw yourself up and supported with extra blankets if you like. Okay. And then folding your forearms, and now resting your head on your forearms, or if you have another block, you can rest on your block. Settling into your breath pattern and your intention, and just allowing the legs to open a little more, release. One of my favorite things to think about these days when I think about my hamstrings or tight places is this idea of yawning into those spaces, as though the muscles can just yawn open, relaxing and let it go. It just feels like exactly what I'd like to have happen within those muscles that are tight or tense. So settle in and allow yourself to release. Beginning to deepen your breath in your bellies, gently, slowly drawing yourself back up to center, moving your props up off to the side. We're going to set ourselves up for a supported reclined pose, making our way closer towards the Savasana now. So you're going to use one bolster, and you're going to have it nice from the center of your mat towards the top. So your back and your head will be on here, your torso. And then you're going to take a blanket, and I like to have mine folded like so, okay? I want it to feel like there's a step here. So there's just one little step. So you can adjust your blanket once you lay down and see how it feels. But the sit bones are going to go on the blanket. You're going to bring your legs out nice and long in front of you. And then you're going to slowly walk yourself down. And then bring your arms out again to a T. Blanket can be on your belly, eye pillow or scarf on the forehead and eyes. And just allowing yourself to relax here. Now, if for some reason it's just too much on the low back, let's say, just add another step with your blanket so that it's a little bit higher up so it doesn't feel like there's such a shift. And then come back and lay down. Good. Now again, if you were pregnant here, you might actually have this bolster propped with blocks so that you are supported, so you can lean back, okay? So laying down, settling into your breath pattern, the inhale, and then exhaling a third and pausing, exhaling a third, pause, and then that final exhale and pause. And then reminding yourself to welcome in support, to move through that which has felt difficult in the past, to set aside fears, to set aside uncertainty as you move through this journey so that you may experience more and enjoy more. Again, just planting the seeds, welcoming in energy that helps you move forward gently. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly, removing any props that are on your belly, on your eyes, and then gently rolling off to one side. All right. We are going to do a legs up the wall. So you'll want to find a wall. If you don't have a wall, you can do this in front of a couch. Okay. You have a couple different options, or you can even just have your legs in the air. So what I'm going to do is I actually have a pole here. You can't really see it, but it's right here. And I'm going to take my bolster, and you have your option of using the bigger bolster or even the smaller bolster. They both are going to work. And I'm also going to give myself another step. So I'm going to pull out my blanket like I did before, fold it, and allow it to be here. Okay. So that it doesn't feel so severe. Now, some of you have taken my classes where I teach you how to get onto legs up the wall. And I always say the beauty of this pose is you have to pretend you're a toddler having so much fun. You sit right next to your bolster and you pretend you're going to kind of cartwheel so that you can get onto the bolster. And then you put your legs up and lean them against the wall, right? Otherwise, sometimes people find themselves pushing into the wall to try to pull up their body, and that doesn't work. You have to try it again, get as close to the wall as you can, and then pretend you're going to cartwheel over, come up onto the bolster, and rest your legs. Arms come out to a T. You put a blanket over your belly, an eye pillow, and allow yourself to rest. Feel the energy draining down towards the head. Again, if you are pregnant and you're just not feeling that an inversion is right for you, or laying on your back is not quite comfortable, or you have some severe back problems, we don't need to do legs up the wall. That doesn't sound supportive. So again, in that case, let's take our blocks. If you're in legs up the wall, continue to enjoy. Come back to that breath pattern. If that isn't for you, you're going to adjust your blocks in this way, stacking them, bringing a bolster here, and then allowing yourself to lean back against the bolster and rest. Adjusting so that your legs are supported, maybe putting blankets, blocks, or even bolsters or cushions underneath your knees. But it should feel supportive. If it doesn't, then just make a change. Do something that feels good in your body. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly. Your legs are up the wall, gently starting to bend those knees, drawing the feet down, and then slowly rolling to one side. If you are leaning in another position, just gently making your way off the mat, moving the props off to the side, and we're going to set them up. Now we're moving into Shavasana. You have options. You can do the traditional Shavasana, maybe even just putting a bolster under your knees, leaving it at that, or even doing Stonehenge, which Stonehenge is very similar. You just use a bolster and then you put 2 blocks underneath it so that it looks like Stonehenge, okay? But we're gonna do mountain brook pose, which can feel really nice, but you have those options. So you're going to fold your blanket once again, like you have already several times today. This blanket is going to go underneath the rib cage, okay? And that's going to be towards the top of the mat. Then you're gonna have a bolster for the knees, and then either a blanket or another bolster for underneath your ankles. Once you have that set up, you're going to just make sure you adjust so that you feel comfortable. So the blanket underneath the rib cage, sometimes I find that some people kind of need to tuck it underneath the underarms just to get it out of the way, and then draw the arms out to a little bit of an airplane or to a T, and then settle in. This is where you also can, again, use an eye pillow or a scarf over the eyes to block out light, a blanket over the belly or over the body to keep you warm. And then coming back to your breath pattern to start and our intention that we set for class. So this is how we will start our Shavasana, and then we will move into a special technique. So just settle in at first, make any minor adjustments so that you're comfortable, so that you feel at ease. Now I want you to bring awareness to the whole body. Feel your body lying on the floor. Excuse me. Let me get this dog out of the way. So feel your body lying on the floor. Heavy. Allowing the floor and the mat to fully support you. And as you do so, as you imagine how deeply you can be supported by the floor, by the mat, I want you to imagine that the body can dissolve. As you dissolve, dissolving any tension, dissolving any blockages, dissolving any beliefs that are no longer useful to you. And yet, although there's this dissolving happening, there's a sense of safety, a sense of security, of groundedness, of having absolutely everything you need in this moment as you continue to lean into your breath and to being. Beginning to deepen your breath in your belly, bringing gentle awareness to the fingers and toes. And then slowly rolling to your right side. Gently starting to push yourself up to a comfortable seat with your eyes either closed or downcast. And as the spine becomes nice and tall again, rolling the shoulders back and down, a slight chin tuck, I want you to settle your awareness on the breath. So inhaling through the nose, feeling the prana, that air, as it draws up through the nostrils, feeling it cool, and then feeling the exhale and feeling the warmth. As you inhale, feel it slowly drawing back up through the head to the back of the skull, feeling it in the back of the throat. And as you exhale, feeling the warmth coming down the sinuses all the way out. Allowing it to feel gentle, just awareness of the inhale and the exhale. As the awareness of the inhale and exhale becomes stronger, I want you to visualize two beams of light, as though there's two straws of light through the inhale into a V in the back of the head, exhaling back out in an inverted V away from you. That cool prana coming in through the nostrils into that inverted V, and then exhaling from the back of the head back out. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the body, feeling the spine stacked, allowing yourself to find the ease of this pose. Now sense a flame in the midbrain. Imagine that you can see a flame in the midbrain, behind that closed eye. This flame is full of knowledge, of guidance, teachings, wisdom. Feel that flame growing. And as you deepen your connection to this flame, seeing the light flickering, sparkling, and shining through this flame, see a golden egg deep within the flame. Visualize a golden egg. Now draw that visualization, grow it. Grow that golden egg to be the size of a fist. As it expands in your visualization in the midbrain, feel an expansion of energy, of lightness, of a connection to your intuition and knowing. Feel it grow. This is a timeless energy, connecting to everything. Now sense this golden egg growing to the size of the rib cage. Just by simply willing it, observing it, visualizing to the best of your ability. Then see it grow until you are completely enveloped in this golden egg. Feel its healing. Feel its light. Feel yourself bathing in this healing golden egg. Allow your connection to the energy of this golden egg to help you dissolve any negative tendencies, behaviors, any strategies that you use to numb, to retract. Feel the golden egg dissolving anything that no longer serves you and strengthening all those pieces within you that can create commitment, willpower, determination, trust, belief. Knowing that your qualities, they're all there. So this golden egg is just strengthening all these amazing tools, skills, talents you already have. Even if it feels like they've been hidden for some time. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, connecting with your physical body here in the room. Deepening your breath in your belly, gently tucking your chin. Drawing one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, just feeling an anchoring in your body now. And just thanking yourself for making time for you, making time for yoga, welcoming in energies that will help you align to a life that feels more free, more focused, and allowing you to let go of disbelief, let go of anything in the way, so you can be here now, be here now, be here now. Now, before you come away from your practice, taking a few moments to journal about this experience. Maybe there's some newfound awareness. Maybe there was parts of the practice that just felt like exactly what you needed right now. You might want to take some of those elements into the next few weeks. Maybe something popped into your mind that feels like it has nothing to do with anything that we did tonight, but is of benefit to you. So take some time to journal. And as always, if there's anything about the practice you have questions about, if you have any special requests, or just anything at all, you can always put a note below and tag me, and I'm all ears. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me tonight.
Night.